Good evening, Littleton. Welcome to the July 27th, 2026 Select Board meeting. We will begin this meeting in executive session. So we'll look for a motion.
I move that the Select Board vote to enter into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Sections 21A, Purpose 3 and 7, and Suffolk Construction versus DCAM 449 Mass 444, 2007, to discuss strategy with council related to agreements by the Littleton Police Association under the collective bargaining agreement, as discussion in open session may have a detrimental effect on the town's bargaining position, and to enter executive session 38, section 21A2, to conduct contract negotiations with non-union personnel, specifically the police chief and town administrator.
Second?
Been moved by Mark, seconded by Karen. Roll call vote. Kyle.
Aye.
Karen.
Aye.
Mark.
Market's aye.
I'm an aye as well. And we will return, it looks like at 6:30. So we'll see you in just under an hour.
I turned it on, I forgot.
He asked us to put it on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Want to restart it?
I think we're okay. Good evening. This evening, we're going to start off our session with a moment of silence, and I'll have Mr. Rambacher read.
On behalf of the Littleton Select Board, we pause today to honor the life and legacy of Steve Wood Ziegler, who passed away July 18th, 2026, at the age of 83. Steve dedicated his life to serving others. His remarkable career began as a volunteer firefighter in Lincoln before serving our nation in the United States Air Force. He then devoted his career to law enforcement, serving with the Lincoln Police Department, the Boston and Maine Railroad Police, and most notably for our community as a detective with the Littleton Police Department for 14 years. Throughout his careers, Stephen earned the respect of his colleagues and the gratitude of the communities he served through his professionalism, integrity, and unwavering commitment to public safety. The town of Littleton is grateful for Steve Ziegler's years of dedicated service and extends its deepest condolences to his family and friends and all who had the privilege of knowing him. And we'll have a moment of silence.
Great, thank you. All right, this evening, I'm going to go over the agenda really quickly. We had our executive session, and we're now going to get into our main session. We have some department board updates and requests. We have some guests here from surrounding communities. Talk a little about the charter, town manager, and things like that. So, and then we're going to talk, we have an introduction to our new school and superintendent, who some of us haven't met yet, but we see you back there. So thank you for spending time with us. A couple requests from the Veterans Agent. We have some updates from the town clerk on some ADA improvements we're going to do at Fay Park. We'll talk a little bit about our executive session that we had, and we'll have our public input, of course, and number updates. We have a few appointments we're going to do this evening as well, and then we'll have our typical select board discussion on topics across the board, data center discussions and things like that. Some of our goal recaps and assignments. A couple votes, and we'll get our town administrator updates. We'll have some minutes, and then we'll adjourn. We'll try to catch up, but I doubt we will. So, all right, without any further discussion, I would like to introduce, or Jim, I can have you introduce if you'd like, since you set this up for us this evening. We have a Bedford town manager, and the town manager of Bill Ricca. So I'd like to welcome them. Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, you guys can try. Can you both fit in the chair, or you guys?
We're friendly, we've been friendly for a long time.
So, Bedford Town Manager Matthew Hansen and retired Town Manager Billerica Robert Mercier. So, thank you both for coming, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Been
you
here
for having
before.
us.
Yes, yes, you have. So we appreciate you spending some time with us. This was, as you know, the town has recently had a charter committee of a few members that are in the audience behind you today. The town manager, town administrator process, or how towns, which towns use them and why, and things like that. It's been a debate the whole way, and they went through this. They broke it down. They had recommendations, and I think as a board, just to get even more in tune with some of the pitfalls or some discussion, I want to thank Jim for bringing you in, and just kind of how your experience, I think, is important to us on what that process looked like since you've been through it. So, any questions from the board anytime, just please. Quick
Yeah.
background would be
Quick
good. Thank you.
background, yeah. So you want me to start?
Sure.
Because why? I'm older? All
You're in
right,
the comfy chair.
Yes, you're the comfy chair.
I'm the comfy chair. I am retired out of Billerica, also the Burlington Town Administrator, Billerica Town Manager, Burlington Town Administrator. Also been an elected board member in Tingsboro to the Select Board. Been a president of a large regional chamber of commerce, did some other work in Wayland, and started my career a long time ago in Maynard.
Again, Matt Hansen, thank you for having me. Happy to be here to discuss this topic. Quickly, I spent 6 years on the select board in Chelmsford, so both of us have, I think, a good understanding of that side of the table as well. A few years as the chair of the board, 6 years on the Northern Middlesex Council of Governments as well. We both went through charter change in Tingsboro when I was the town administrator there. Bob being a former retired town administrator and select board member, town manager. He was on the committee when I was serving as the town administrator, and we moved to the town manager form of government there as well. Through a multi-stage process. At first, it was going to be a
Multi-stage,
full
yeah.
charter, and then it did end up getting backed off to just the moving to the strong town manager form of government, specifically for staff, which we can chat about a little bit as it relates to your charter committee's recommendations. But we saw a lot of similarities between the work your charter committee did and the work that was done in Tingsboro. A lot of similar themes, a lot of things that can be beneficial, and then a lot of the things that you need to look out for, specifically politically, because every community is a little different. And a lot of these things, there's no right or wrong answer. It's what does the community feel is right for them in the timing. And I think
I think your committee did a great job, by the way. That's an exhaustive task. Exhaustive.
Good, solid 18
Good
months.
for them.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yep.
They did their work.
So really, when you mentioned you went through the process, was that through a special act? Was it?
Yes.
It wasn't strictly through the charter. You kind of.
it was a special act of the legislature,
Okay.
specifically for a town manager.
Okay.
So basically, we took the town manager section out of the charter, which would have also changed some elected boards to appointed and consolidated the DPW and things like that, and essentially decided to do them separately rather than all at once as a charter. And the town manager being the most important one for the committee, they did that first as a standalone special act. Then after that, they went back and created the DPW, so sort of in piecemeal rather than all at once, because it was a lot of change all at once. And then actually recently in the town of Bedford, where I am currently, we just went through our 5-year review of our charter and bylaws, and some of the same themes got discussed there as far as clarifying appointing authority and things like that, some of the same things that so I'd be happy to take, just a couple minutes and give my overall impressions and feedback, if that's what you'd like. I know you have a lot on your
No,
agenda
please,
tonight.
please.
Yeah.
This is
And Bob,
very
you
important.
do the same thing, but I
Yeah.
can just
You
hit it
start.
off? Sure.
You start. You're
Um,
still employed.
Yeah. Yeah, and going through this very recently, I can tell you some of the most, impactful things as a sitting town manager, and some of the most impactful things when this happened in Tingsboro, that your committee was recommending as well. A lot of it, no surprise, comes down to the appointing authority. And one of the themes that we came up with when we really tried to quantify what we were fixing, because that's what we got asked a lot, like, oh, what's broken? If it's not broken, you don't have to fix it. Really aligning the authority with the expectations was one of the big issues we had, when we had several staff members, department heads that either reported or arguably reported. There was a lot of ambiguity in the bylaws to elected boards. That created some inconsistencies among town staff about, when people had to report to work, who they had to report to if they were taking a vacation, and just some things like that. And at the end of the day, the town is an organization with staff that all want to be, feel like they're treated the same and, offered the same opportunities. So the Town Manager Act really just clarified the chain of command first and foremost. The town manager basically appointed all non-school, non-library staff. Because that was a big change, there was pretty standard language for consultation with elected boards. We didn't define that. It was kind of chosen to be left purposely vague. One of the big takeaways we found out was that you really can't, and this was supported by the attorneys that were helping us, you can't over-specify the charter. At some point, you do have to realize that if you don't have a town manager who's a team player and is going to accept input from other folks, they're just a town manager that's not going to last very long. So consultation with the boards, and specifically for the police and fire chief, very similar discussion to I think what you're having now about should it remain with the board or should it remain with the town manager. What we came up with, not saying it's right or wrong, but we came up with was the town manager would remain the appointing authority for the police and fire chief. But rather than just consultation with the select board, it was a vote of approval of the select board. So essentially the select board did retain veto authority, if you will, over those appointments. So that would sort of force the town manager to at least have a higher level of consultation, if you will, knowing that anyone he brings forward is going to have to be approved by the board. That was a compromise to get it through town meeting. I think the charter committee at the time wanted the town manager to have the authority kind of flat out for all hiring and firing. The select board wanted to retain a little bit of that authority, and me as the TA at the time, I was fine with that additional oversight. I think that's a little different than what you're recommending here specifically for those two positions. My personal opinion, just based on my experience and speaking to lots of other town managers in the state, and Bob, may or may not reiterate this as well. The oversight of staffing from a town manager's perspective is one of the most, important and impactful things that your charter can clarify. I can say in all of my HR-related issues and experiences, a significant amount of them did come from situations where there was a break in the authority of the town manager, where he was expected to resolve an issue with an employee where he had maybe a dotted line oversight to, but not hiring and firing authority. And for whatever reason, that tends in many communities to be a recurring issue, just by the nature of, I think, human nature, the fact that if somebody really isn't your boss, it's just a different working relationship you're able to have with that person naturally. There was a lot of talk in Tingsboro about changing elected boards to appointed boards.
Yes.
They took the approach of basically the boards that wanted to move, they moved over. Like the cemetery commission was basically one or two members who had been the same members for 30 years, and they said, no one's ever running against me. I'm perfectly fine. If you want to make me appointed, I'm still going to do the job. We weren't looking to get rid of you. There were a couple boards that were not ready for the change, did not want to be appointed, and basically the select board made the decision how much did they want to push back, and that's not really something I can provide feedback on here. The other biggest thing that was discussed in Tingsboro and in any communities going through a charter change is the remaining elected staff members. I'm talking about actually paid staff. Most communities are down to one or two, a town clerk and or a treasurer collector. In Tingsboro, the charter committee recommended moving a few years prior to our charter committee, I should say, they moved the treasurer collector from elected to appointed. That that worked out extremely well. Actually, it was 3 weeks after the new appointed treasurer collector started that we found out that under the previous treasurer collector, the deputy collector had stole $500,000 over the course of 8 or 9 years, and it was never caught. So that was a really, something that was caught very quickly once we switched that to an elected position. The final one was the town clerk position. That went to town meeting once or twice, and it was very passionate feelings on both sides. It was recommended, and it failed by several votes at town meeting. In addition to that, there was, the way it was specifically worded in Tingsboro was that the current elected town clerk was going to become the first appointed town clerk. It was written in the charter, and that person would remain in their position until they chose to retire or otherwise, left the town. And then it would default to the town manager's authority for appointment. So that was sort of a nice way to create a transition without telling somebody who'd been elected a long time they had to leave. I do think that's, again, in my experience, frustration points for disparate treatment between different employees. Having elected folks with an actual, paycheck tends to be a pain point. Again, I just met your town clerk for the very first time, know nothing about her. This is not
She's staring.
obviously directed.
Staring bolts into the back of your head.
Obviously not, obviously not directed at her in any way. And I think from what I read or heard, there's not everyone that's being recommended through your charter committee is necessarily in favor of it, and I understand that. But I mean, you can take this for a grain of salt because I am a town administrator, town manager. My, strong recommendation would be to at least strongly consider that. Ultimately, it's up to town meeting, let town meeting decide. But just my professional opinion that it's an area that it creates an opportunity. No one knows what happens when this individual leaves, when the next person comes in. Who are you going to get? If that person stops coming to work, you still have to pay them. We viewed that as a large area of risk, just from the town's perspective. But ultimately, it's what the town wants to decide. And there was a big battle, I know, the last point on that was about, people being able to choose their elected officials and choose their town clerk. And when we had looked, I think the person had run unopposed for 20 years, so nobody had actually had a choice since as long as anyone could remember. So that argument didn't bode particularly well in Tingsboro. And that's probably one that I think at some point they'll bring back in the future. But that was the last piece of the charter that hadn't been implemented yet in Tingsboro. But it's
Yep.
something.
So my experience is, in the main communities, I've had some other smaller ones where I did have an issue related to what Matt's just talking about, and that was a department head who didn't respond to the town administrator set their own hours in the town hall.
I had that too.
And people would call me and say, I thought the town hall was open like 8 to 4. How come this office is closed on a Wednesday? I said, the person doesn't report to me. It just created some issues. Both of my major communities, Billerica and Burlington, both had elected town clerks and still do today. Billerica, which is a very strong charter, and Matt knows this, we look at charters all the time, one of the strongest in the state. They have a town clerk, an elected planning board, elected school committee. That's it. All the other boards and committees are appointed either by the town manager or the select board. And I know that's a discussion that's ongoing, who should have what authority over who. You do have some statutory boards, which is very important, as you well know. And providing, my opinion, providing an appointment process for a lot of those boards is a benefit to the community. And the reason I say that is you've got a lot of talented people in this town. Every town has a lot of talented people that could provide you with their type of expertise. They don't want to run for office, but they may say to you, Mr. Chairman, I'll serve 3 years on your Board of Health because I'm a nurse practitioner and I can provide something, but I'm not running for election anywhere. But I'll give my town back something. So that's the argument for looking at the talent you already have in town. And we all know any board that's running, except maybe select board members, it's tough to get people to run. I'll bet you have a lot of uncontested elections. So that's one of the aspects you guys got to think about. Every town makes a different decision. I mentioned Billerica. Burlington had elected boards everywhere. They never changed that. We had elected rec commission, we had elected board of health, we had elected planning board, we had elected ZBA. We had all kinds of elected boards. It didn't change. And of course, the library is an independent, you all know this. The library is sort of independent, and nobody's trying to change that. It's set up by statute, basically, their independence. So nobody has a real problem with the library. The issue is not the library trustees, but who does the director report to? And you get into some conflicts because, as you well know, things like the library have very different hours than the town hall has. And that's generally, surprisingly enough, I don't know how it works here, Jim, the town administrator, the town manager negotiates the collective bargaining agreement with the staff. So where does that fit with the authority that the director has vis-à-vis what's negotiated via the town manager, town administrator with the staff? So that's one of those issues that got a little contradictory. The overriding thing for me, and Matt just talked about it, is the personnel functions. That, to me, is the linchpin of making a strong town manager or a strong charter, because you all work for the same town. And particularly today, personnel issues are front and center in a lot of places. And if you've got people who, I'm not saying they don't understand HR, but HR is changing. Anything having to do with employees and their rights, and it's changing dramatically. You better not do something as a board to an employee that you manage currently that's against the statutes, because you could find yourself in a lot of trouble and the town gets in trouble. Under a town manager, where the town manager literally manages all of the staff, there's much more centric control there that the town manager and either an HR department or whoever happens to be helping, that, and access to town council, all of that stuff, labor council, that's a critical component today. Town government is very complex today, and that human resource management is a major component today, and you can't have people doing things that should not be being done. Fortunately for me, and I guess, Mr. Chairman, and for the board members, it's a trust factor. It wasn't a real strong town administrator in Burlington, but the select board and the boards that were elected gave a lot of authority to me. They said, you're the expert, you do this stuff. We're here for policy. We're the Recreation Commission. Well, I don't want to manage my people, you know how to do that. But we want to set up the fields and blah, 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 and talk to the sports groups and all that kind of stuff. Similarly with the Board of Health, we've got a lot of strong regulations under the Board of Health. We want you to manage the staff. So they afforded me that responsibility, and it worked out fine. I would have preferred that those boards, some of those boards be appointed, because I think we had, as I mentioned earlier, Mr. Chairman, we had a lot of talented people in town that wouldn't run.
Yeah.
That just wouldn't run. They said, you know, I'm a doctor, and I'd like to be on the Board of Health for 3 years, but I ain't running. So that's the dilemma you guys all got. It's not new. Every town goes through this, and as I just gave you an example, I've gone to both extremes. Very strong town manager, strong administrator who was allowed to do his job by all of those folks, because they understood. They're not experts in a lot of the personnel items that we all deal with every day. The final thing I'll say is a lot of department managers, including police and fire, chiefs, for instance, normally have a personal employment agreement with the community, maybe a public works director, maybe a library director, whoever. Those better be consistent, because there are eyes in the community. They're all watching. How come, Mark, how come you're getting X number of vacation days and X number of dollars? I got the same role, and I'm not getting that. So it creates some of those accountability standards that you really want in a strong manager, managing your personnel, because that, you guys have all heard, that could create friction, because those contracts are available. Everybody can read them. So that's one of those issues that I felt strongly about. And again, thankfully, Billerica, it wasn't a question. Burlington, they would ask me, could you help negotiate the contract with our new library director? because you know the parameters, where you can fit this person, blah, blah, blah. And in Burlington, the town administrator was a personnel manager for all the departments. So if in fact I had a rogue group that said, we want to pay our person X number of dollars, given the wage and classification schedule, I had the veto power on what they wanted to pay. So I can make everybody consistent in where they're going. Everybody wants to bring somebody in at the highest level, but that creates a problem for the next individual who comes in. That one got the highest level, why can't I come in at the highest level? So it's consistency in terms of applying the rules and regulations of the community that are very important to whichever role you choose to move forward with. It's not an easy decision, by the way. It's pretty complex.
So I'll ask a couple
Yeah.
of questions. You said that you did the town manager as a special act rather than the charter. That was just for expediency or ease of voting, or what was the?
Passage at town meeting, I think there was a feeling that doing all the changes at once wouldn't pass as a charter. So really the language didn't change. It was really just pulling that section out, just really just to get it through town meeting. Get town meeting comfortable with the idea and to just do one change at a time.
Okay, and you said like the police and fire chief, they were basically, the select board had veto powers.
Correct.
But for the other, like the park and rec director, did you give the park and rec commission veto powers, or it's just the select board was special?
Parks and any of the other boards, it was consultation. And so the idea was in practice, and this is the way it was already for the boards that were, the staff that were already under the, really the town manager's authority or town administrator's authority. At least one member of a committee, for example, would sit in on the interview process. Typically, sometimes if no one wanted to, you would just share the resumes with them, share the advertisements, see if they had any feedback on it, things like that. But what I found is most helpful and the most common practice, and I still do that today in my communities, is if it's the new town planner, maybe invite the chair of the planning board in on the interview process. So when you go back to the planning board with the candidate, you know at least one, maybe two people had some involvement in the process.
And what about dismissals?
Strong recommendation that dismissals remain solely with the town manager. And I'm not an attorney, don't pretend to be one, but the feedback that I've received is there's two very good reasons for that. One, practically, the town manager needs to be able to dismiss someone in order for them to like truly be their essentially truly be their boss. Otherwise, if you get into a situation where you're trying to discipline them at one level of discipline, do you need to go get approval from the board? Sometimes suspension without pay is, considered that. So it gets really messy really quickly. But from a practical perspective, boards can't discuss staff members without inviting them in and hosting an executive session unless the employee wants it to be in public session. So anytime there's a disciplinary issue with a staff where the board retains control over the termination, this town manager would essentially have to make a recommendation to a board to terminate the employee. The employee would have to come in. But more so than that, there's the whole nuance in the middle where if you have to do an investigation into employees, sometimes those investigations are confidential, private, the employee may not know. It's a very, just logistically, it's a nightmare.
And then for like the agreements with like the police and the fire chief, or I guess the library directors, actually probably negotiations would be with the trustees, but who's doing the negotiations for all the others? Is it the town manager or the boards?
My times, I did all the discussions and negotiations with the contracts, because I knew what we had available. A lot of board members don't know what we offer in terms of benefits and those type of things, but we do. We're there every day, we deal with it every day. So I'd get approval, obviously, at the end of the day from the select board for particularly police and fire chiefs, right? The issue with the library director, because it is an independent, I think we all recognize that. They would come to me and ask, how should I structure this? I would assign my HR person, go meet with the board and figure out what they want to do within the parameters that we control, which is the salary. Tell them up front, here's what you can offer, no more, no, less certainly, but no more than that. Here are the benefits, don't give them 8 weeks of vacation, because you're gonna blow up the whole scheme that we have going on here. So anyway, well, I had that control because I had my person sitting with them, and they trusted us. They trusted us to do the right thing. They would pick the salary within a range. And I would say, yeah, okay, that's fair, because we just hired the town engineer at the same salary, that's good.
To your question, though, that is another sort of a little bit of a layer of protection in most towns. You know, Chelmsford, where I live, and served on the board there. Even after in Tingsboro as the town manager, where I am in Bedford as the town manager now, where the town manager has the appointing authority. When you provide a contract to those staff, because it's a contract, typically requires select board approval. So for the additional benefits and maybe the exact rate of pay, that does still go in front of the board. So even though the town manager is the appointing authority, you do have a little bit of a check and balance to make sure it's one more check and balance on the town manager's authority.
So the manager negotiates the contract, the select board approves the contract.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, most, yeah.
Most that I'm familiar with, but, yeah.
How long did it take you to phase in all the sections of your charter?
Sure. So
You mentioned a
One's
few,
still
you wrote
pending,
a
yeah.
couple town meetings, so that.
Yeah. It was probably, a year and a half for the planning.
Yeah.
First town meeting.
Yeah.
They kind of failed and said it's too much all at
Told
once.
us to go back, yeah.
And I think they came back with the town manager, and then next year, probably 4 years,
Yeah.
a good 4 years.
4 years from
When the committee started.
when the committee started to
Yeah.
when you had
The
a
majority.
town manager and most of the other provisions from the charter? Thank you.
So did you bring the entire charter to the first town meeting?
Yes.
Okay, and then from there, that's when you realized it's not all going to pass, and then that's when you brought the town manager model?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when that passed, the department heads that were reporting to boards, did they immediately then start reporting into the town manager?
Yes. Just on that, I did want to mention one more time that in general, in my experience, the staff were very happy and welcoming of the change for two reasons. One, because they knew it created some parity that people weren't going to be treated differently because they had a board that really liked them and let them go home early or work from home and this and that. Everyone was going to be treated fairly. But second, they knew who they were going to report to, because as town managers and administrators, we're used to working with and reporting to an elected 5-member board. A lot of department heads do not want to have anything to do with that. So if you're trying to hire a conservation agent or a health director or an assessor, and you say, like, even if we're doing the interview, but you actually report to this board and they're going to hire you and they're going to do your review, immediately I think you lose half your candidates, like right off the bat. That's my non-scientific estimate. Because that's becoming more and more common, more and more folks just want to report to a town manager. They want to have one boss, they want to come to work and know that politics aren't going to potentially get them fired.
So after passing town manager, what was the next thing from the charter that you brought to the next town meeting?
A consolidated Department of Public Works,
Right.
and which included, I think, an appointment of the sewer commission, which was it?
Cemetery Commission.
Cemetery
Yeah,
Commission.
yeah.
And, not appointment of the sewer commission, excuse me, bringing the sewer enterprise fund and the sewer department into the Department of Works and under the town manager. It was a big change because we had to negotiate special language. They were very concerned about the sewer enterprise fund and is it going to be under the control of the select board now? So bringing the sewer department officially into the DPW and under the town manager was a big change for the town that was used to the sewer commission basically being completely independent,
We have a water district too in Tingsboro.
which is still
Still
independent.
separate, so it's a mix. Towns deal with it all differently. You've got a lot of questions, your committee did a great job, but there's no perfect answer. You folks will know what the answer is when you find it. You know what I mean? It's just, there's no perfect solution to this. Towns are still evolving, going through it. When I was in Berica, they had a 5-year review, like Matt does, of the charter. And they'd reconvene the charter committee and say, where can we tweak this? Change some things, And that's ongoing, that's always ongoing. It's government looking at itself. which I always think is a good idea. Maybe 5 years isn't the right number, but things change so quickly, you gotta keep up with those changes.
One follow-up question. Did you write that 5-year review into your charter?
Most towns, yeah,
Yep.
they're right in
Yep.
there.
So do you think taking it to town meeting and having it failed made the rest of it go more smoothly the next time around? Or,
Yeah, I mean.
When we tweaked it, we
Yeah.
did tweak it. We heard the message. We heard the message.
Yeah, it was very clear from the camps that there were a lot of pieces that had maybe 50%, but if you took the few people who were against this piece, the few people who were against this piece, and the few people who were against this piece and made them vote on the whole thing, it was gonna kill the whole thing. But a lot of people got up and said, we'd vote for the town manager if it was just this, but we don't like
Right.
the Board of Health going appointed. We like the DPW idea, but we don't like the town clerk being appointed. And so that's why we broke it up. See, all right, well, let's get the things that everyone agrees on.
This seems like a bear pulling those little pieces out of the charter, one thing at a time.
Yeah.
A few here, a few there, it's,
It was. I don't necessarily recommend completely piecemealing it, but I do think, I'm sure the committee themselves had these discussions or are recommending to you, and you're gonna have the discussion though about what
Yeah.
can you live with?
Right.
What's
Yep.
really a recommendation versus, you don't wanna sink the whole ship over, something that is not gonna be as impactful, just prioritization.
yeah, we have a member of the charter committee that had a question.
So one of the questions we have now, because and everything you're saying to me is confirmation of everything we went through, so I appreciate that. But one of the questions now is, so one approach possibly, and I'd be very interested in your thing for this. So you have the charter, again, the same issue. So town manager, we need to do that. The elected versus appointed is harder to get through, so it's separated. But why not just put the whole charter out there, but all those elected versus appointed, those changes are not in there? It's just today's current state, but now you have the whole charter. And then you can just go in and tweak those other things as we go forward versus doing just the town manager and not doing the other things.
You go first.
You can absolutely do that is number one. And number two is, even if you don't change elected to appointed for a lot of the different boards, you can still clarify in the charter that the staff reporting to those boards are hired and fired through the town manager, which achieves 90% of the
Which
effect.
would, I mean, that's the whole point of doing,
Yep.
saying you have town managers.
Right.
To fix that, basically.
Yep.
Right? So I was just curious, rather than just taking out, let's do town manager, why not put a whole charter out there so you have the structure? Because right now, I'm sure you were in the same place, to find out what the law is, well, there's a bylaw here, and there's a town meeting vote here, and this and that. At least we've got it in one place, even if it's just, except for the town manager and these reporting relationships, the rest of it's current state.
Yeah, it was really only 2 or 3 things that caused us to break it out. I would say the
Yep.
town clerk
Yep.
and the sewer commission, sort of those 2 groups had enough concerns collectively that we were concerned the whole thing might not pass. But we did talk about, well, we could amend that on the floor, but decided that would be a little too messy. But I don't think there's anything wrong with your approach in general.
I agree.
Any other questions? I know we'll have more, we probably should get business cards or something. Oh, another member from Mr. Knox has,
Just quickly, and there's 4 members here from that committee, one sitting on your board right now, but I think the impression that I had as a member was that when it came time for the charter, we made recommendations and an executive summary. Ruth did a great job about some of the feelings we had about who should be elected, who shouldn't be, with big question marks on that.
We read
was
it.
there. But the thing is,
Yeah.
my impression was it was gonna go from our committee to the select board. The select board at that time would make decisions on, okay, and we think that this board should stay elected, maybe that one should be appointed, whatever, and then it would go to town meeting. So we thought the select board itself would be making some of those changes before it went there that they thought would pass, and not just pluck out a certain part of it. And I hope you guys can speak also on the same topic.
Yeah, I guess what he's saying is, don't feel free to tweak our document before you bring it to town meeting. That's
Yeah.
a good message from
Yeah.
the committee.
Yep.
yeah, I know we've brought things to town meeting before, and you can tell just by the feel in the room what's gonna go down in flames before it even starts, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of the concerns with such a document this big, or there's so much to it, and I think you dealt with that in the way that you thought would work. I mean, did anything not work?
No. One of the things that our attorney from KP Law at the time mentioned, who did a lot of charter, she said, she'd been there 30 years. I've never worked in a community that's gone to a charter or town manager or switched an elected to appointed that's ever gone back. And even the history of the Commonwealth, I don't think it's ever happened. And that was one of the most impactful statements in the whole charter process to me about, is this change going to be good or is it going to be worth it? And if anyone could prove me wrong if that statement's not true, but I'm not aware of any communities that have gone that. You usually make more progress towards the strong town manager form of government where the boards, it is a consolidation of authority in one hand, but it really does allow the boards to focus on policy making, which is what they're really good at, and it allows the town manager to focus on the administrative stuff, which is what we should be good at. Yeah.
You guys good?
Good.
All right.
Appreciate you doing that
No,
work.
this is-
Thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
around.
Very
We know
helpful.
Jim
Very
pretty
helpful.
well, and do you have any questions?
Yeah, we
Ask
will.
Jim
We definitely
Give our
will.
numbers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming.
I hope this goes without saying, but I just want to say, I think if Jim had invited any managers here, they would have given a very similar story. So I just want to be abundantly clear. He didn't seek out managers who would be supportive of a strong town manager form of government. We all go to MMA conferences. We all speak to our peers. We have a very good sense of what our other managers in the community, the issues they deal with, and how they feel about these issues. So I don't normally like to speak for other folks, but speaking on behalf of the town management profession, I think my both of our messages is consistent with what you'd hear from anybody.
Appreciate you saying
That's
that.
good.
Well,
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks
Good
very
luck
much.
with the rest of the- You want us to stick around? No.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Good stuff. All right, we'll wait. I got it.
Okay, thanks.
Next up on the agenda, this is our first introduction, at least from the select board, of our new school superintendent, Michael Kyra. So, sir, please come on up if you'd like. This is I know people have had the opportunities to speak with you or at least see you through the process. Or whatever, yeah, whatever you like.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna be as long as those guys.
I know we have a member was on the committee, the selection committee for you, but the rest of the board, I don't think has formally got to meet you unless through passing.
I came to the meet and greet last week,
Meet and
yeah.
greet.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having it.
But I thought it was appropriate to have you come in and kind of introduce you to the town. More people get to see you and who you are and some of this.
We're riveting television.
Yeah, much more riveting television, but, and welcome you to the community. I think all of us seen your resume and we did, get to see some of the process, which you definitely rose to the top. And we're excited that you took on Littleton. We all love the community, obviously, so.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for the warm welcome, and thank you for the opportunity to come here tonight and just say hello to the community and to meet you all. I really appreciate that. This morning, I had the privilege of sitting in on a department head meeting with Town Administrator Duggan and Assistant Town Administrator Souza, so I got to meet the whole team, and that was great to be able to put some names to faces. And it was my pleasure. I did sit next to Diane, so I got an early trouble, and I told her that she needs to save a seat for me because we'll make a good team. But yeah, it's great to be here. This is such an incredible community. I'm sure that some of you saw my interview. I started, my educational career here in Littleton, beginning as a teacher in 2000 at the Russell Street School, and when the opportunity presented itself to apply to be the next superintendent, I had to jump on it right away to return to a community that means so much to me. So I'm thrilled to be able to be here. I promise you I will do my best to bring all of our students exactly what they need when they need it. I am a student-centered leader. I will forever be that. I hope I'm never accused of being anything else. And I'm excited to work together with the town administration to collaborate and do what's best for this amazing community.
Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anybody have any specific questions? I mean,
I've talked to him several times,
Yeah,
and
you have.
I'm excited that he's on board, so.
Yeah, thank you.
you know, things that maybe we don't know about you all that much, that maybe didn't come out in the interview that you want to share with the community.
Well, I think this may have come out in the interview, but I am the proud son of a former town manager. So that's why I had to say hello to Mr. Mercier. I
Did he
texted.
set you up to that?
I texted my dad in the audience, and I said, "Do you know Bob Mercier?" He said, "I know him well. He's a great colleague of mine." So say hello. So I come from a family of public servants, and I take that very seriously. I think that is a point of pride for me. You know, my mom was a kindergarten paraprofessional. My dad was a town manager. My grandfather was on the school committee and the select board in the town of Wilmington for years. My brother's a principal. My sister's a counselor. My other sister's a paraprofessional. So this is what we do. The Kyras are our lifetime educators. We are a family. We are a family of educators, and we are a family that understands the importance of civic engagement and civic involvement and giving back to a community. And besides that, I have two amazing daughters and a wife who's also in education. My wife is tremendous as well. She's the one that keeps the ship afloat. There's nothing too fancy about me besides the fact that I've been on 2 game shows. So you can Google Family Feud. You can watch the Kyra family on Family Feud, and a long time ago I was on Wheel of Fortune too. So those are your fun facts about me that you wouldn't find on my resume. So there you go.
Little known facts.
Little known facts.
Good stuff. I've spoken to a number of people from Ashland. I have some friends in Ashland, and some folks that are in education as well, and they spoke very, very highly of you, and your reputation from Littleton as well. Being in Littleton a number of years, it was great to see your application come in, and it's great to see you coming home to Littleton.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Look forward to it.
I recognize your name. So
Well, you have a kid in every class. basically.
I was trying to think back of which the cost I had. I believe I had. I think I had one, Sean maybe. I don't know. Was
either
it
Adam or Joe?
Adam or Joe? Okay, Adam. Yeah, somebody. There was somebody along the way. I think came through my class. So. It's really it's an honor to be back here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you back.
Thank you.
The DeCoste kids would burn in your memory, I'm sure.
Depends on which one.
I came in and I saw an amazing middle school drama performance this summer. I think it was this spring when I got hired. I know Adam has a lot to do with that, so you have much to be proud of.
Yeah, a lot to be proud of. Yeah. Proud Papa.
So thank you, folks.
Awesome.
Great to see you.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
I am going to exit stage left.
No, I know, we kept here longer. We truly apologize. We don't like to do that as a.
I understand. If anybody understands, I think it's me. I get how these things
It's
work.
the first test.
Yeah, beautiful. Hopefully I passed.
Your dad was late for a number of dinners, I'm sure.
The dinner was often cold for him. We were in bed when he got home. But I will look forward to seeing you all again.
Likewise,
And I please.
Yeah, reach
Don't
out.
hesitate. Reach out to me. And,
Likewise.
my hope here as I enter is to have as many great conversations with people as possible to learn about the community. So I invite you to reach out to me and come and sit and chat. I want to hear about your thoughts and how we can work together to make this an even better community.
Great.
Okay?
Michael,
you knocked
from our email this morning, please, you're welcome on Thursday. Bring your team to
Thank you.
the employee appreciation, cookout. We would love to have you.
Yeah, I've never turned down a free burger, Jim. So you'll see me, and I know some
Parking's the
members.
toughest part.
I know some member of the team are also going to be with me as well. So.
Outstanding. Carpool.
Okay,
Parking's
good tip. Good tip. I got a pilot, so we'll see how many we can fit in there.
There you go.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate
Thank you
Wish
for
you
the
the
time.
best.
Thank
Good luck.
you.
Was that a Michael, was that a sticker on the back of your car from Assumption Softball?
So no, that sticker is for Ashland softball.
Oh, all right.
So I still have to
Okay.
honor my daughter, who's
Okay.
a varsity softball.
Okay.
I'll give her a quick shout out if I can. She was just nominated to be the Metro West Daily News fan softball player of the year. So
Outstanding.
go on the website and give her a vote. I
love it.
Give her a vote. She had quite the season, and we're really proud of her. So
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
yeah,
Yeah.
I went to Assumption, but no.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. All right, we have a veteran agent request for the Purple Heart Day to use Littleton Common on August 7th, 2026 at 10 a.m. We did this last year. It's a first kickoff event. I know, Diane, you're involved in this as well, but I won't be here, so. Nor will you, so. But this is just for a vote to,
Yes, sir, to
approve
use the
these
common, that's it, and I know that Diane worked really hard for the initial ceremony and last year, so, we want to, continue that tradition.
it's huge. Okay, so,
Move the select board vote to approve the request of the veterans agent to use Littleton Common on August 7th, 2026 at 10 a.m. for a ceremony to honor Purple Heart veterans.
Second.
Moved by Mark, seconded by Kyle. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Are one of the select board available to confirm that?
It's a date,
August 7th at 10
Friday.
a.m.
it's a Friday.
I am out on vacation.
The proclamation, I think we typically read, right? Yeah.
I can do it.
Awesome.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle.
Yep.
Aren't you away that week?
August 7th. I am until Saturday. I can do it Saturday. If it were Friday, no.
This is
It
Friday.
is Friday. It is Friday,
I can do it.
August 7th.
August 7th.
Oh.
It's a good
I'll
thing
do it
somebody's
then.
keeping your schedule there.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad I shared my calendar with you. I can do it. I can wing it.
I'll do it. I'll be here.
Stay out of the doghouse. Mark will do it.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, guys. All right, next up, we have another veteran agent request, a request to have flags at half-staff on July 31st from sunrise to sunset in honor of Stephen Wood Ziegler, who we just honored a few minutes ago. This is something that the select board does have the authority to do in town when a member of the community passes. So this is in front of us today.
This is to honor a veteran and a police officer.
Littleton, yes, sir.
Yep.
Move the select board vote to approve the request of the veterans agent in honor of the life of Stephen Wood Ziegler, Air Force veteran and former Littleton police officer. The select board orders the flags on all municipal buildings to half-staff on July 31st from sunrise to sunset.
Second.
Moved by Kyle, seconded by Mark. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, good honor. Update from the town clerk about our ADA self-evaluation and transition plan. And then we're also going to have an update from Diane regarding improvements to Fay Park.
So a couple quick things. When I was here last time, we talked about the self-evaluation, and you asked regarding why the elementary school was not in there. So in talking with Kelsey Edmonds from the Collins Group, I kind of had a lapse of memory as to why we hadn't included that. So one of the reasons why we didn't have Shaker Lane, obviously, was because we are tearing down Shaker Lane School. The reason we did not include the elementary school is because it's not included in anything that we do through the town, in the sense that it's not approved by the state for elections or town meetings. So the high school is, and the middle school is, and so that's why we included it in the evaluation. And the school is actually responsible for doing any upgrades to the
ADA
other
related
school. Yeah,
upgrades.
so that's why the other
Trust.
schools are in there, so that's why it is there. So if that was the only thing that we were looking at to have an approval of the plan, I would like to ask you to approve the plan so I can send it back to Kelsey for approval.
So if a resident has an issue regarding any ADA They
at the
would go-
elementary school,
They would go to
go
the
to the school directly,
the
but because,
superintendent or,
because we had the other schools looked at through our plan,
yeah,
they would,
Okay.
we would be responsible for it because we had it approved through the state as
yep.
approval for our elections and town meetings, and so we had to have it looked at because of those reasons.
Got it.
If I may, through the chair.
Yeah.
Thank you. Diane, and I'm sorry, in regards to evaluating the school, with the school where town meeting is.
Yep.
Is it just focused on the area that town meeting holds, or is the entire building done?
So they actually went through the full, so the outside, anywhere that we were gonna be in, and they looked at anywhere that the public could go into. They didn't go into the classrooms because we as a public are not allowed typically in those classrooms because it's, you know,
Gotcha.
it's just not. So anywhere that the public comes in to vote, or whether it's town meeting or
Right.
elections. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Right. Any more questions for Diane? Right, we have a motion finally. Get this
Move that the select board adopt or what do we do for the?
Self-evaluation and transition plan?
We what to it? What's the verb?
You're gonna accept the self-evaluation?
We move the select board accept the self-evaluation and transition plan from the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Second.
Moved by Mark, seconded by Kyle. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Update on Fay Park.
Okay, so as far as the Fay Park is concerned, a couple of, did you receive a letter yet from Henry?
No.
Okay. So I did meet with one of the members of the Parks and Recreation Commission. I had a conversation with one of the members of the Parks and Recreation Commission. I met with the fire department, met with the highway department, and then I met with the building commission. In the Fay Park area, there are some trees that do have to come down. So that's gonna increase the price of the project, but the Parks and Rec Commission are still looking to see if they could find their plans, and I'm not sure if Saul's still here. Saul's not.
Rob is though.
Robert, was your group able to find the plans as yet? So,
Not heard anything other than that's it.
So what they were looking to do is just put an area where they could have a pad and a picnic table that is undercover. It's not going to add much of a cost, but they just don't know which area they wanted to put that in. If we put it in the closer area to the fire department, it will interrupt the flow of the walkway. If we put it on the opposite side, it wouldn't interrupt anything. So that's that. The other issue, however, is the gazebo, which you will be receiving a letter. You will be receiving a letter, as will the Parks and Recreation Commission and the Select Board. It is going to be shut down. It is in
Disrepair.
disrepair right now. It is severely in need of some tender, loving care. And so there will be caution tape put on it so that nobody can use it, keep everybody away from it until it is looked at by someone that can fix it. I know that it was put up by volunteers long ago, but that's a whole nother ballgame. So for now, Fay Park will kind of be put on hold until we can get that fixed first. That will be the main objective, to get that fixed, and then we can go forward with the ADA component.
Is this an emergency thing, or requesting emergency funds to do this?
Well, because it is in our park where people use it all the time, I think it's something that I could look out and see if somebody can give me quotes to have it fixed, and then come back to this group and see what you say about getting it fixed right away, but it's a hazard.
Without seeing the report, we don't know what that hazard is. I mean, I don't know.
Well, so if you look at it, it's leaning.
Well, that's a hazard.
Yeah. It's leaning, it's got one of the major construction poles is bending.
Oh,
Another one of the poles isn't even on the sonotube, so,
there you go. Yep. Okay.
but Henry's gonna do the letter. He went out today with me, so.
Did they inspect the electrical while they were there? Might add it to the list.
True. And then, this is, let's pass that around. Jim and I had been talking about what we're gonna start doing as far as the grant processes is concerned, and how we're gonna start doing ADA compliance and all of this. And this is just kind of a quick little note as to what we've put together so far. If you look, obviously, this was before we kind of had an idea of what was going on over at Fay Park. But I've put in for a grant already up to the Common, and that's already gone into the state. You'll see that Fay Park is on there. Next is our accessible trails. We've got 2 trails on there, Long Lake at Colonial Drive, which is the Taroni Loop Trail, which is hopefully we'll be able to make that into a braille trail as well. And then Mill Road at Mill Hill, it's less than a half a mile, and some short compliance we'll be able to do. And then staying on the recreation theme, all of this is from our transition plan and what they came out and talked to us about. Copperfield is one of the biggest costs. So that soccer field is used by all the youth in this town, and it's considered 3 fields, 3 smaller, when they break it down, there's 3 fields there. So we have some issues with our accessible parking, so that needs to be fixed. We need to redo the spaces that are there, repaint them, redo them. The route going onto the fields, there is no existing access. So if you look at the fence, there is an opening there, but it's not handicapped accessible. So that opening will have to be removed and fixed so that people that have accessibility issues will be able to get onto the field. And then that's a pretty low ball field as far as cost is concerned. Then you go up to a Castle in the Trees and Aiden's Playground. That is the biggest cost. There's 3 or 4 little things that can be done, probably for about between $25,000 and $50,000. But the biggest ticket item is the playground. It's about $250,000. So that's because the surface is totally non-compliant. So that's one of those ticket items that if the town pays $125,000, we can go to the state for $125,000. So that would be a joint effort between the state and us. Long Lake Beach, there's a few small things there. Another $25,000 to $50,000 would fix that. And then there's many areas discussed that we need to correct the parking spaces throughout the town, and signage, and in the parking areas throughout all of our trails. There's only one trail that has actual parking that is hot top, and even that isn't correctly hot top. So all of our trails are going to need correct parking. So those are just some of the things that we're looking for to correct with that ADA grants
Yep.
program going forward, and just kind of a preliminary idea that we're giving to you, that we will be starting with and going to CPC, for CPC funding, and then trying to use that joint, going for three projects every year with the state and working with CPC.
I know Chuck has a question. I'm going to ask a quick one.
Sure.
Is this in a priority order?
Yeah, somewhat, yes. Yep. Yep, because the trails are the two top priorities, because those are the ones that everybody's been complaining about, is the trails are not
I was just
accessible.
like, so when I saw Castle on the Trees, I know how used that playground
Yep,
is. To
yep.
see that's out of compliance, you're like,
Yep, yeah.
okay.
And so like Copperfield and things like that, they're smaller projects, so you can apply for a couple of things in there by themselves, but the $250,000 project would be something that you could do by itself. So 125 from us, 125 with the state, and that's one project that could get done, but would have to be shovel-ready,
Do you think it would qualify under CPC, under open space?
because it's recreation, yeah.
If I may?
Yeah.
So towards the end, you talked about the trailheads not having appropriate parking,
Yeah.
not being asphalt parking lots.
Yeah.
I know that Conscom was very deliberate about, for instance, oh geez, I forgot the name of it,
Overdale.
down by Chris Mill on
Cloverdale.
Cloverdale. Did you say that out
I was
loud?
just there yesterday.
Cloverdale, where they wanted to have just millings for drainage for, so it wouldn't be,
Well,
To
one of
us.
the ADAs is that it's not
that's not compliant.
compliant, yeah.
Okay.
It's
All right.
on
Because there
our
are-
list.
Like Acton Arboretum has compacted permeable
Yeah.
material.
The
Maybe
pro-
that's gonna be a better option for us. Because asphalt is like frowned upon by
Yeah.
any kind of water runoff, and you get the oils coming out of the asphalt and going into whatever,
Well, the only other thing is, how long is that gonna last versus, I mean, we could do
Yeah, I'm-
asphalt out towards the front.
I'm just
of-
trying to take all of it
Yeah,
into
yeah.
consideration.
So if we go out towards the street with the asphalt and then
Yeah,
closer to the trail with the.
Yeah. I just know that was very much consideration, not to do asphalt. But, maybe it was a financial thing. I thought it was more about the runoff from asphalt. The other question I had, if I can go back to the Fay Park covered picnic area. What's driving that? Because if you're talking about we could put it near the fire station, it's gonna cause problems with the trail. If we put it, I'm guessing beyond the gazebo, would have
Yeah,
to
way
extend
up
the
against the
trail,
other-
would have to extend the trail even further, I would imagine. was
Well,
gonna
so
cause-
initially, we were gonna go all the way across anyways.
Okay.
Yep, and so if they put it on the other side,
So that
it would be more beneficial to what we wanna do if they had it on the other side.
Okay. And what's kind
That
of
was-
the driving force for putting in a covered picnic area?
Parks and Rec.
Oh, okay.
They were looking to do that so that, initially it was because they wanted to do a rink, so they would have something there so that they could sit under while the kids were ice skating and things. So not just for the summer, but for,
Yeah, so
but
two things.
That's so far away from where the rink has always, where the skating has always been.
Yeah.
It's always closer to the fire department.
So Park and Rec has always had a plan, and the capital plan to do something down there. And
Something,
that's what we're
parking
trying to find the
arrangement, yeah,
documents
yeah,
on.
yeah, trying to
It
coordinate.
is a few years ago that, it was in it was in our budget presentation, so we know there's an existing documents, guys can remember seeing it, kind of the plan itself.
Have you ever seen the covered picnic area, though?
No.
I don't
know there's
remember ever seeing a
parking.
plan. I always remember seeing them asking
But,
for money.
More for parking and that kind of thing, though, right?
yeah, they were gonna do diagonal parking along the front. and-
Along
Well,
Foster.
Yeah,
well, in
But-
talking to, and not to interrupt you, but in talking to them, they wanted to put parking up above, is what, taking down some of the trees up above and putting some parking up there.
yeah.
And taking the thought of parking along the street away.
But I think that we had, I don't know if you're aware, we're allowed to discuss some of the ADA complaints.
Yep,
Okay. So driving force behind some of the stuff that Diane's talking about is there's a complaint that needs to be acted on. There's legal requirements that the town has to act on. It just coincided with the fact that we knew Park and Rec had some stuff they wanted to get done. So if there can be a synchronized, or we probably save some
Yeah.
money here if we can knock out, contractor comes out and does a few things at once.
In collaboration,
Yeah,
yeah,
in
I get that.
collaboration, and it looks, and as long as we're moving forward on some of the ADA issue that we have, I think we're gonna be in compliance, so.
Yeah, just, then,
Yeah,
just,
did I hit it right? Is that-
just seems like there's a lot of other things that are more of a priority than
Yeah.
doing a covered, a pad with a covered picnic area.
Yeah.
I just think
Well, now
this-
we have the no gazebo, maybe that's, There's your
I'd
lightning
rather put the money
protection.
into the gazebo. But,
Yeah.
just my
So
opinion.
on the topic of Fay Park and the gazebo, recently I was talking with Jim about how can we engage Neshoba Valley Tech with the town to save money. And I think it's a cool idea if we could get some students from Littleton to build or help repair the gazebo.
Yeah, I
It's just
mean, I
such an
can
iconic
talk to
structure in
Jose,
Fay
because
Park.
he actually is, their group is actually the one that did my shed for the school, so they did a great job on that. So I could talk to him and see if he can come out and take a look at it and see what his thoughts are.
Cool.
But yeah,
Thanks.
because compared to what other people will
Yeah.
charge us for the project.
On the Long Lake and the Mill Hill, both of those have fire gates that I think are making it hard to get access to.
Yep.
What do you do for those?
So, I talked a little bit to with Andrew about that, and he said he would let me know tomorrow, because he was, because I kind of like threw this at him, those two at him, and he's like, he'll need to check into that.
And I think Kerper Field was addressed several years ago on, to make it more ADA accessible in there. I think they were like allowing the gate where, for the mowing equipment off of the parking lot was supposed to be changed to be more open for accessibility. That might have changed in the more recently than my kids have been playing soccer. But they used to allow, like, the ADA parking was way down at the far end and you were coming in down that direction. Is that no longer the case, or is that?
Well, when they went out and did the audit, which was just this spring, obviously the gate must not have been open, but also the actual markings are incorrect.
Yeah,
So where they have the markings, there was only two handicap spots, and the spots were not laid out correctly, and there's only two of them, and one of them actually has to be a van marking, and it's not. There's no signage, and so that all needs to be corrected. And if you're going to put that accessibility all the way down there, and then you're gonna be making them walk further to
The third field.
the third field,
I
it's
don't know where
not
the third
accessible.
field is.
Well, they make them, they have three small fields, they go this way.
I thought they had two that went that way, but they added a third.
The
I don't
wa-
remember
wa-
there ever being
yeah.
a third.
Straight
but-
to three, no? When they do-
Striped for
when they do
three,
The
yeah.
younger kids?
In the spring, I think they're striped with three. They were striped with three.
Okay.
But-
My kids haven't played there in a while, so.
So,
Okay.
Any other questions? I think we're done, right? Thank you.
all right,
Thanks,
thank
Diane.
you.
Thanks, Dan.
Just,
Right, update from executive session, announcement of any actions taken as appropriate, so, and then, so G and H together, the board has decided to, we're close, on the contract negotiations with our new chief. The board has allowed me, as the chair, to continue negotiations this week, and there'll be other members, participating, and with the expected changes that we discussed in executive session, and working with attorneys, allowed me to sign the contract, hopefully, by the end of this week, and of course, no later than August 3rd, because that's when we have put out, we would like the chief to start, so there's that. Outside of that, we have public input.
not really public.
As we pan over the crowd, Rob, did you have anything for the board
Yeah,
today?
I could.
Please.
Here,
Oh, wherever you'd like, yeah.
so Rob Brown, 25 Juniper Road.
Rob, will that microphone reach you?
Yeah, it should. Yes, I can get it.
Thank you.
I got it.
Sorry.
Yeah, no issue. Rob Brown's 25 Juniper Road. So kudos to Director Yonley. Used the new transfer station setup. I think it's great. I think it makes the recycling and the whole sequence. So want to encourage anything by way of newsletter or publication with regard to maybe we should get some more eyes on it with regard to people now seeing how nicer it is, and great that new compactors there, et cetera, efficiencies, et cetera, so kudos. Kudos to Chief Landry, holding last Thursday's discussion about the break-ins. I've spoken to a couple of people. I was away last week, couldn't attend. I know there was some concerns with regard to parking and accessibility and standing room only, but overwhelming is that I heard specifics pertaining to Chief Landry and how open and appreciative the public is with regard to what was shared, and saw him in the parking lot. Said intends to continue such things, so kudos. Glad you had the two folks here. I wanted to hold my comments until public input. I'm for the special act. I do not want a failure at town meeting. I'm vehemently against select board endorsing things, then bring things to town meeting, and then have them go down in flames, or worse, in my opinion, worse. You've got 2 years running now of putting something on a warrant, and then you pull it at the 6 o'clock meeting before the meeting starts. Private roadways is the most recent example. I think that hurts the public trust. I think this transition is going to be all about public trust. I think that the charter committee members, of which I am a member of, but speaking solely as that member, is that trust issues exist. And charter committee, in my opinion, heard them loud and clear from numerous groups that were considered to be flipped from elected to appointed, or just the town manager model itself. We had very little, in my opinion, success with regarding the public involved. I'm very concerned that people will hear little things here and there if you try to bring the whole charter together and try to get it all through, and now you've got the experience of them saying it set them back a good year and a half. Please don't let the work of 15 months go for another year and a half before we get some progress. We need, per the government structure review, we need to get that town manager model in and stay focused and get what you can get done. If you want to do additional things, Sal Marino was here briefly, throw up as a separate, aspect of bylaw to flip, one from, if you're not legally obligated by state statute that you have to go through a charter process to overcome the existing statute. But if you've got a bylaw opportunity and the other ones that you want to take them on. But do it as an individual thing so that we can get some things approved and don't go down in flames trying to do it all. It's my personal opinion. I know I heard earlier it's opposed. That's my 2 cents. So, thank you.
Member updates. Chuck, we'll start with you.
Sure. One update, just the Appleman ran last Sunday, not yesterday, but Sunday before, and was very well attended, and looks like Rotary brought in, they surpassed last year's fundraising of $40,000. I did go down and volunteer, and it was just very well attended and very well organized, and I think Kyle was there as well as a volunteer / Rotary member / selectman.
Yeah, all of the above.
But it was really it was well attended, and hats off to Rotary for all their efforts and all the volunteers as well.
All right, Kyle, we'll get over to you.
Sure, yeah. Like Chuck mentioned, I was also at the Appleman. I was there the day before setting up cones and marking off streets. Very well attended. The day of, I was taking some drone shots for them to use in their footage. It was a great event. Like you mentioned, raised a lot of money. We had the business spotlight at Dirigible last week. We were all there for that. Speaking of drones, yesterday I was actually on the top of this building with a drone. We're making a new Welcome to Littleton video, so I was helping out Mark with some additional shots. So if you see me around town, just sitting down looking at an iPad, I promise you I'm just taking video for the Welcome to Littleton video. But those are all of my updates.
That's awesome.
Okay, Karen?
Yeah, so thanks to Dirigible, and I wanted to thank Dr. Kyra for hosting a meet and greet for school parents. It was well attended, busy day afternoon, but it really, it's really clear how engaged he is with Littleton and the parents and the students especially. So that was great.
Love his energy. You can
Yeah.
just feel it.
Yep, exactly. And then I was not at the Apple Man, but my husband and kids were, and they also reported that it was a great success, so.
Awesome. Mark?
I was also at the Business Spotlight. Thank you to Dirigible and the team there. We had an Affordable Housing Trust meeting last week. We talked about Hebrew Senior Living is looking to build the, I think it's 86 deeply affordable senior apartments over at 410. Affordable Housing Trust is actively involved in that process, and there will be more to come on that. We're looking at doing, once it gets a little farther along, doing more outreach to local residents about what will be available and there and things like that. We also discussed an RFP for this developing the Durkee property based on recommendations. MHP helped write an RFP for us where the town would continue to own the property and lease it. After further talking with town council and others, it was recommended we sell the property, so the RFP's being revised as we speak, but hopefully it will be going out soon. And the other news I have is a little birdie told me that it's Gary's birthday on Wednesday, so happy birthday, Gary.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, 29 again, I hear.
Yes. I am not as old as this guy. Thank you, Mark. Just speaking of the Durkee property, I did notice DPW obviously did some work there. I mean, obviously, you can't put a tuxedo on a pig, if you will, but it looks a lot better. It's cut down. It doesn't look as dangerous. They cleaned up a little bit of the area, so appreciate that work. And as well, as Mr. Rounds had mentioned, the new system at the dump, I call it the dump still. It's okay. It works great. It's a weird feeling throwing in glass, plastic, and cans all in one thing. It's almost like you're doing something wrong, but and they have this way they've set it up. I think makes things flow much more smoothly. I will put the plug in again for the town hall barbecue on Thursday. Appreciation barbecue. So thank you for putting that on. I too was at Dirigible. It's funny how they show up to some of these ones. Mark. I'm doing the BCI ribbon cutting on Wednesday. I think Karen and I talked about that. And I'm going to be speaking, and I think Representative Arciero is going to be there as well, over on Foster Street at 10 a.m. on Wednesday. So
285 Foster.
285 Foster, thank you. And I have to thank Chief, soon to be Doug Landry, for the presentation, and his team of his detectives and officers. Couldn't have expected that turnout. It was huge. Just completely packed that room. Made me realize we couldn't do a town meeting over there, but it was standing room only. They did their best to get people in there in chairs, so but it worked. And it impressed me to see how he and his team just worked the crowd. And the presentation was fantastic with videos, put a lot of the public at ease, and it was his birthday. He had a birthday dinner to get to that night, but he stayed until every single person had their question answered, so kudos to him and his team.
It was a big day.
Yeah, it was. It was a big day. So that's all I have there, but we do have some other stuff on the agenda. For the member updates, we had Flock Camera, Nagog Orchard, and Charter Committee. I don't know if we have too much more. We talked about a lot of the Charter Committee stuff here tonight. Flock Camera stuff, I know, if you have any information, anything else to add to that right now.
No, I think the last time we discussed it, we had talked about putting together a public input forum and perhaps discussing the differences between CCTV and Flock, and having a member of the maybe LPD come in.
Yeah, in collaboration with the chief, yeah.
Yeah, I think Chief did mention it in a different way at the meeting the other night in the public forum, on how there are some options, some discussion about working with the select board to find out if certain technologies could help with these type of crimes. And obviously, there's stuff out there. And yeah, flock potentially could be one of them in that regard, but it's more so some other type of surveillance things that we could probably utilize when we talk to CCTV and things like that, or other things that we can have on town property, conservation land and things like that to help these type of situations, keep our citizens safe. So, yes, more to come. I think we'll have to get a little bit more in depth. Obviously, we're getting through the summer here, but we need to start ramping up that discussion. And I wanted to, first and foremost, get a new chief in place, his new team in place. I left that out. I will be sitting on the interview panel tomorrow for they're doing one panel for deputy and lieutenant. Several chiefs in the region, including Michelle, obviously, with HR, and he asked myself to be on the board as well. So we will be interviewing tomorrow all the candidates, and hopefully we'll have, Jeff's replacement starting when he leaves on September 1st, and a lieutenant, replacing Doug's position, and then the sergeants will roll up probably September, October, and we'll be hiring a few new officers, obviously, to fill the void where the sergeants get appointed from. So a lot of change at the police department. I think it's good. There's a lot of good energy. So I'm excited about the future of that department.
I'll give a slight update on the orchard. As was presented at the public forum last week, there were break-ins at the orchard. They've recovered the equipment on that front. From the orchard itself, I don't think we've received the report from MDR when they were out, so I will follow up on that. And we need to decide, one of our goals was talking about the orchard house. We probably need to decide in the next meeting or two if we want to declare it surplus and for the purposes of selling it at Fall Town meeting. I talked to Mr. Nordhaus after the last Affordable Housing Trust meeting. He's on board with helping us host meetings and publicizing whatever we decide to do. But I believe we have to declare it surplus before we can go through any RFP process. So we can kind of lay out and start gathering input from the public on what they would like to see in the RFP in those meetings, so.
Okay, good. All right, thank you. All right, we have a couple of appointments I want to get through today. We have, we'll appoint Will Pickard to the Agricultural Commission. Was he not already on the Agricultural?
Yeah, his term just expired.
So this is a reappointment.
Yeah, just a reappointment.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Will's, all right.
Move the select board vote to appoint Will Pickard to the Agricultural Commission for a term expiring June 30th, 2029.
Second.
Moved by Mark, second by Kyle. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Sworn in again. Appoint Stephen Haddon to the Clean Lakes Committee as the Lake Mattawanakie alternate.
He's also currently serving he's been serving in that, this is just a reappointment.
Okay.
It just didn't make the packet the last time.
Thank you for.
Move the select board vote to appoint Stephen Haddon to the Clean Lakes Committee as the Lake Mattawanakie alternate for a term expiring June 30th, 2029.
Second.
By Mark, second by Kyle. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Select board discussions. Any discussion, more discussion on data center moratorium update?
I did have a brief discussion with town council today about, we had discussed, can the select board put in a pause or a moratorium? And his discretion was, no, it has to go through the town meeting to do that because we're amending bylaws. Also, Governor Healy, they put out guidance around data centers. I haven't gotten through all of the guidance yet as far as what their recommendations are, but those are my only updates on that.
So no discussion like what New York just did. That was pretty big deal. No data centers in New York. I mean, that.
So they did put in the Economic Development Bill Phase 2, whatever's in front. Now there was talk about data center. moratoriums and ban, but all those amendments have been withdrawn.
From the state,
From the state.
That's unfortunate, because the state could have really solved this problem for
So
us.
there's nothing going forward, to my knowledge, at the state level at this point.
So just real, go back, you had mentioned,
I should also mention the fact that I am working with members of the planning board as well as a member from Electric Light.
yeah,
We're going to get together within the next week, 2 weeks maybe, to discuss, just come together and talk about what are we really trying to prevent
Yeah.
here? Do we really want to make it focused on data centers, or do we want to expand it out? For example, one of the members, they gave an example of, what if a large pharmaceutical manufacturing company wanted to come to town that uses just as much water and just as much electricity, but we didn't spell that out because we were so focused on preventing data centers. So kind of expanding the horizons is, what are we actually trying to prevent?
it's really energy, water, resource
Consumption.
consumption.
We'd have
What's
to-
that limit, right?
We have to quantify it.
And I guess there's smarter people that can figure out where, you don't include obviously light and water, but what's that limit where they think that a capacity level would be reached? We don't want anything bigger than that. It's not good for the town, it's not good for our resource.
And I think in some of the guidance that the Healy administration put out, they talk about, these data centers have to self-power, basically. They have to bring their own power, find a way to bring in that power. But more to, I haven't read through the entire thing yet.
And you had mentioned that we cannot do a pause. I swore we've done a pause, not on, since I've been on the select, but maybe since you were aware, we could call it an emergency or an event where we can't get to town meeting, but the select board can vote to cause a pause on something, a building of something, or I'll have to, I'm
I
surprised.
may not have asked the question the right way. It was a very brief conversation
Yeah.
with multiple topics. It was a 5-minute call to discuss 5 different topics, so.
I'm talking
Like
about quite a
a
bit.
cease and
maybe
desist, but there's nothing to cease or desist.
Yeah,
Proactive cease and desist.
Yeah, it's just because we can't, it's so important to the community that that the select board can vote to have a pause on something until the legislative body can vote on it.
So the way it works with the planning board for the zoning articles is if you have a public hearing, the date of the public hearing is effectively the
When we
freeze.
start it.
So if we have
Okay.
a public hearing on a data center moratorium, we could probably, effective the date of the hearing.
Yeah. No, I don't think data center's moving into the next, before we do a town meeting potentially to vote.
But if we opened a public hearing to say we're gonna have a data center moratorium, the date of that hearing becomes the moratorium, and then the town meeting can
Okay.
vote to approve
Right,
it.
I
right.
think we have to have something proposed, though.
Yeah.
And this sounds like it's gonna be a little broader than that, like you said, it makes sense. Be a little broader than data centers, why pick on that one? We're more concerned about the energy consumption and the resource.
How did we get the auto dealership moratorium?
That's a zoning change.
Zoning change.
That happened at town meeting, the first town meeting after
Yeah.
Toyota did.
If Toyota's approval.
Okay, thank you. Select board order, this is the goals recap and assignments. Did we put this, who put this one on? This is where we want to do assign people to some of our goals this year. That's right. Okay, I apologize.
Tony, is there any way we can bring up the list of goals?
I'll pull it up.
Yeah, if we could get that in the packet, that'd be helpful, too.
It's in the electronic, it's from the meeting minutes.
Oh,
It's, of course,
you can pull it up, or
Maybe just ask
I'll
Lisa.
try, I'll try to pull it up.
It's on page 30
Of what?
on the electronic.
I'm on the electronic.
You, page 30.
Okay.
yeah, this won't be too hard. Just only a few of them, right?
It's in the minutes.
And while he's doing that, I'll continue on the agenda a little bit. Anybody have an issue with voting to approve the town roads for the August 16th, 2026 Tour to Cure bicycle event for cystic fibrosis? We do, I believe, every year now.
Yeah.
Move the select board vote to approve the request of the American Diabetes Association to use town roads for Tour de Cure on Sunday, August 16th, 2026.
Second.
By Mark, seconded by Chuck. All those in favor?
Aye.
Do the other one too?
Yeah, vote to approve use of town roads for October 4th, 2026 Bikes and Bombs bicycle event. Bikes, not bombs, bicycle event. That's what a faux pas that was.
Move the select board vote to approve the request of Bikes, Not Bombs, to use town roads for the Century Bike Challenge on Sunday, October 4th, 2026.
Second.
Moved by Mark, seconded by Kyle. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. And we have a discuss and authorize the town administrator to submit a request to Governor Healy designating select census tracts as an opportunity zones.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, let me just get my notes out. Opportunity zone. This is something that was renamed, that was originally by the administration back in the early 90s with, they were called empowerment zones. And what it really did, it because of the failed savings and loans at that time, there were so many dilapidated buildings, especially in gateway communities, that were neglected, basically because they were foreclosed on, they were upside down, the whole 9 yards because of that. And that was kind of urban renewal and given the tools for that. This is kind of the same thing here. If you identify some zones that and what the rules say is it has to be, our area median income has to be 70% of the AMI. We're at 127%. But this is something that I think we should be proactive on and putting the request in, because here we've got 351 cities and towns in the Commonwealth, and 2/3 of those communities have seeked overrides because as we all are very well aware, the expenses are far outpacing the revenues. You have 20%. We're budgeting again this year, 20% increase for health insurance. So this is something that we would like to be. We need, continue to be strong with our economic development tool. This identifies multiple areas. It identifies the Donlands Plaza, the MBTA communities area, the Point, and also 550 and 410 Great Road. And it's federal tax incentives to encourage economic growth. And some of those things that an investor developer can do is a deferral of capital gains tax for that entity, set up a step up in basis for gains invested in the opportunity zones, reducing capital gains for that investor, exclusion of gains from investments held for at least 10 years, allowing potential tax-free appreciation. And it's a tremendous tool to have in our box, in our toolbox. It could be a shot in the dark, but after 3 decades in this business, I've seen stranger things. At least no one can blame us for not asking.
Yeah.
And I would like the opportunity to be able to send the request into the governor's office.
Okay. Any questions of Jim?
I think this is all good. The Donlands Plaza, do we want to call out the Donlands Plaza, or do we want to call the whole Village Common area there? I mean, you like Northern Bank area and the yellow building that's not part of Donlands Plaza, but is also, I'm just asking if we should expand it.
No, I think that's a really, really good point. I mean, we're calling it the Donlands area, Plaza, because we know it that way. The census tract will identify the actual boundaries. Which covers it. Exactly. So we can name it anything you want. I have no problem with
I
that.
just didn't know what the state was requiring. Okay.
That's all it is.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so there's a motion on this?
No.
No? Just that, no, just a, yes, Jim. Authorize you to submit a request to Governor Healy,
Thank you.
if there's no objection.
Consensus.
That's
Does
good.
Littleton have more than 2 census tracts?
May have 3. 2 or 3.
It's like southeast and northwest, right? Which is kind of funny because if you look at the map, it's
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of weird that they're split by, like, the point is northwest and 550 is southeast.
right.
Yeah.
And MBTA and Donlands are southeast?
Yeah.
And
Does-
they change, I'm sorry, they change every 10 years, and sometimes
Yeah,
there's
well,
overlap.
I didn't know if, like, yeah, the point area also covers, like, Dover, Satori, and
Yes, it does.
Even
so
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whatever those these are just hitting highlights, but it does not exclude anything else in those census tracts.
where do we find where the census tracts are?
I can send the link tomorrow, but it is
Thank
on
you.
census.gov, which isn't fair, because there's a ton of info on there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll go back to our FY 2027 goals. You would direct your attention to the large town. All right, so all we're doing here is we're just trying to assign some people, these don't get lost in the weeds. We have a couple of select board members that can kind of dig into it a little bit and kind of keep it moving forward throughout the year. So the first one is a charter revision. This is obviously very significant, as mentioned, we had talked about it. So it's really about taking advantage of what was discussed here today, and anyone else that wants to bring other people in, maybe if we need more information.
Thanks, Mark.
Oh, thank you. Is anyone interested in this particular championing this particular goal from the select board?
Sure.
Kyle,
Did
you
I hear
sat-
Karen
You
volunteer?
sat on that board for 18 months.
Yeah, I was weighing if I want to continue. I mean, to me, it seems, it's very, I'm very familiar with it.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
I mean, I think that's
But I
a huge
wouldn't wanna
resource to have. You-
Deprive you of this goal.
No, I think that makes sense.
And we can have a primary and an alternate on every one of these if we want, I mean, or two primaries.
Is it our intention to have, what is it, 16 on here?
Yeah, there's a
Okay, they-
good bunch on here.
Yeah.
I
But I mean,
thought we had like 5.
yeah, so I'd rather see them on a spreadsheet and like have
Yeah.
it chunked out, and these are kind of broad swipes.
You want to put this to our next meeting? I mean, I don't, or you
I mean,
want,
The info's all there, it's
It
just
is.
not
The
in the
info's there,
spreadsheet.
just like,
Yeah.
Okay,
are we gonna assign somebody to all 16, or is, I mean, a lot of it's, I don't know. Is this what we came up with? I think the first two are certainly goals.
yeah. I mean, the third one, I mean, Kyle's kind of already leading this,
Is that a goal, for us as a board?
a flock camera policy. We obviously need a policy. It would make sense to have one this year.
Yeah.
So I think that's important, that one, surveillance of any kind and what our options are. And I think where I was going with it a little earlier, once we get this entire management team in the police department, having their view and some of his new chief's insights and some of the new technology maybe that's being talked about. And that team can be a little more heavily involved, and maybe he'll put the new lieutenant in charge of spinning up maybe discussions with us, or being a point person on public safety in regards to flock, and so we can have a better judgment on how we want to weigh the safety versus personal liberties and things like that. And get the public involved, but that's kind of, yeah, I'm absolutely willing to help with that. I know it's important to the town, and it's not going away, so
Yeah.
this is one we have to
You
move.
can tag team that if you want.
This is more an administration thing, isn't it?
Which one?
The chargeback policy? What are we gonna do as a board to,
Did we do data centers
Yeah,
yet?
we skipped data centers.
they just, surveillance, I'm sorry.
So this is about creating a bylaw.
Yeah,
That's our
and I'm
goal, here, to
already-
get this in front of the town, in front of the community and let them vote, but I think you expanded it a little bit more than data centers now, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it's just something I'm working on already,
Okay.
so
Okay,
I just kind of assumed it was my goal.
yeah, okay, no, great.
I'm sorry, with the 55410 one, did we pick a champion for that? Or-
Did you get there yet?
It was that one. It's number 2 was.
It's more of a monitoring, it's a tough one to put a champion on. We're monitoring this.
Yeah.
As
Was
part of the
this more
Economic
direct-
Development Committee, I'd like to.
I don't even think
be part
this is a goal.
It's this, because this is something that's ongoing. It's making, sure, it's reaching out to them, like Northern Bank seemed to have stalled.
So
I don't know
this
why
is
they
more
stalled.
revitalizing the Economic Development Committee, so
Yeah.
that's a check.
of it. Yeah.
Okay. Right, Mr. DeCoste. School chargebacks policy. Where did this one come from originally? I forget.
That was Jim's idea.
Jim had brought up.
Oh, right, right.
Just making sure that the right departments are being,
So is that Jim's goal?
I think it's more of an administration thing than it is ours. I mean, if we need to set a policy, it's certainly something we can.
So that's
address.
Jim's goal.
Yeah.
I'll work with you, Jim, on that. I know if we need to have meeting with finance, like you
Yeah,
have already up
yes.
there.
Yeah. Karen, this is town meeting and election schedule review. You had talked about the
Yeah.
time of year and that kind of thing, right?
Yep.
Boards and committees.
Could I ask a
Yeah.
quick question? Do we want that to include format? Because that's something else that we've been discussing.
You mean what format?
Well, we've tossed around the idea of, discussion one night, vote another, and
Yeah, I mean,
splitting it into multiple nights, or,
Yeah, it's really doing the research on getting the
Okay.
new town
Depends how much you
moderator opinion.
How much you want to bite off?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't want to, go down a rabbit hole that nobody's interested in pursuing.
No. I
So-
mean, it would be great to have 500 people at our town meetings every time, but I just don't.
Right.
Boards and committees.
This was more letting people know, like, this is how you run a meeting, you need to get minutes, we need to educate
Yeah.
people that volunteer so that they know how to run a meeting and what, what is the open meeting law and,
Yeah, I don't know if this can become part of,
orientation,
your programs that you put for, I don't think it's on
the
here.
academy.
The academy, just, yeah,
I'll champion it.
well, okay. Okay, thank you. Neglected properties bylaw,
I'll jump into that.
yeah.
That was Jim, right?
I'm on one of these, so does that make it mean I can't be champion? I mean, I'll,
You just can't vote on it. I mean, I think you're capable of being unbiased. I think you've offered good perspective from both angles. But I mean, it doesn't have to be you.
I think it does, I'm the one that mentioned the ballot question, because I think getting that type of thing out in front of the broad public and not just isolating people on private roads, and really, we have to have a bigger plan. It can't just be shut the switch off. And that was shown, why we pulled the article anyway. I think they have to, I can't believe how many different variations there are of private roads with HOAs, not HOAs, people that just, with every neighborhoods where everybody would have to attorney up to create how they're gonna do business, right?
You want to champion that one?
So,
I'll work with you.
yeah,
on
well,
that,
you,
but
Mark and I.
I'll work
yeah,
with you,
it's-
but
it
you
is-
can be primary. Or you can be the front.
Okay. Green Communities Stretch Energy Code.
I'll take that one.
Good. Employee handbook update, I have no problem working with Jim on this, and Michelle, and this is,
Yeah.
it's a living, breathing document that we are gonna continuously update anyway, but it is important. And trying to pull over some of these, we're seeing this with the lieutenant and the deputy, trying to pull some language, because they're no longer having contracts for those positions. Trying to pull over language that it's gonna be in their side letters, I guess you will, when it comes to Quinn, things that, you know, they typically might not get, so at least it's written out in the personnel bylaws and stuff like that. LNG facility zoning enforcement.
Town council opined that we have jurisdiction if we wanted to do like a cease and desist or, what is it, injunction or?
It is a real thing, though, that's actually,
I don't know that it's a
I
goal.
thought it worked itself out, did it not?
I don't know.
I
The
don't,
LNG?
Yeah.
they weren't going to Kimball's property and whether they were looking over at Distribution Drive, correct?
Sorry?
No.
Weren't they looking at Distribution Drive?
Yeah, that was the
It
latest,
fell- I believe that fell through.
did it? 'Cause I know Marin had talked about they were gonna kick it down.
Yeah.
We have this great,
But is that a goal for us?
I
I don't
don't
think
think
so.
No. That was an update, really.
so. Yeah, Amazon delivery vehicle,
Again, don't think it's a goal. I'm happy to jump on it because I've been living this since
no.
they came to town, but is it a goal?
Is that
Put-
the
put my
Amazon you're
name-
talking
yeah,
about?
you can put my name next to it if you want to.
I am, tomorrow, as a matter of fact, because I went and did a site visit.
Yeah,
Tomorrow, I am, have a virtual meeting with a gentleman from Amazon that, because I specifically went regarding the Oregon license plates. And that was part of the special
it
permit.
used to be on New Jersey.
What was it?
Yeah, so just explain to me, what's the benefit for Amazon not to use us? I mean, it helps us immensely, obviously, in excise.
Not to
tax.
pay us excise
Not to
tax?
pay- But are they paying it there? That's the question. Are they just doing it?
Oregon has no excise tax.
So, is that why? All these places don't have excise, that's why they're doing it?
You know that, you know that for sure?
No, I'm
Wow.
curious, because that's and is it truly in a contract that they were with us, or was it a letter of agreement?
No.
That they were gonna have
It was part of their approval.
It was part of the vote.
100 vehicles,
It was,
or 400?
no, that's, I think,
70% or some percentage of the vehicles had to be
is
registered in
it,
Littleton.
there's a percentage tied to it?
I believe so.
Okay.
We'll look at, all right, we can pull
It's in
that.
it's in their special permit.
Special permit, yeah.
And you and me as chair and vice chair can jump into this, and we can visit, work with Jim.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy to do that. I mean, I was there when
I
it
know.
was, when it was
When it was
written.
built.
Yeah.
The budget process,
It's you, all you.
I mean, the town administrator's office owns the process, but, I mean, it's not really the finance policy team, this is more,
Our process, how we're related to the process.
yeah. I
I
mean,
don't think there's any real action for us
No,
there. That was more of a discussion.
he's got a, maybe document your process, Jim, because, I mean,
Yes, sir.
I think it's different than previous years. You're already, your wheels are already spinning, which
Mhm.
I found out the hard way the other day, working contract negotiations. But, the department had attendance at town meeting.
Again, not a goal.
Yeah, this'll be one of those things that I think, if you have an article, you probably should be in attendance. That's
There-
A.
Yeah.
And then B, if, you know,
I know that it's, in other communities, it's mandatory, all department heads have to be there, just in case, you never know that if, even if something not on the article. But, you know, that's, I'll take, I'll respect the direction of the select board if that's.
There is a kind of a goal that we didn't talk about for Jim, and that's more along healthcare. Like, we need to get control of the healthcare costs
You
and
better
have a
lower those.
plan
We
in
need to get you to
place.
the gym.
Jim to the gym? All right, I'll go to the gym.
No, just, well, last year, you know, what we're doing, are we changing plans, how we're changing plans? We need to have
Yes.
something in place. It's a goal that you're going to have to accomplish anyway to balance the budget, but we should
Right.
call it more of a
Okay.
separate goal. And
So, just as an update with that, we are having, is it virtual or in person? Do you remember, Larry?
Don't recall now.
Okay. If you just.
Jim, I think it's more of how it was presented to us last year, that we just didn't want to have that to happen again. It was more of a,
Well, I mean, let's not forget that we had outside influences into us with the representative
That's
was
true.
all over the place.
Sure.
Telling us one thing, we went and offered the information, oh, no, that was wrong, so now we had to change it, no, it was meant to be this. So
Yeah.
this way, the gentleman that closed the loop with us, Larry, he's a dedicated person, and he has a position of authority there. So it's something that, and we are meeting
Person,
this week.
Wednesday.
We're meeting this week with him as a kickoff meeting, and then coming in for a few weeks from there, we're gonna establish, we're gonna get the PEC back, and then early on in the process. And then moving forward, we're going to, then it's a matter of negotiation, how we're going to get the best policy to present to the select board.
Because there was a timing element too, right?
Right.
It was the union needed more time, but there was also something about HSA. People had had already decided how much to set aside, and it didn't take the new plan into account.
Correct.
And so this is bringing all of the different pieces into one plan.
Exactly, thank you for that reminder. That was, a big factor into that, just the optics of that.
And like, how much, sorry,
No, go ahead.
what authority the select board has to mandate or dictate, changes if it's a compliant plan versus not. We just need to get on top of this earlier without getting into the
Yeah.
details of specific plans, which way we're going and start
Okay,
rowing that direction.
and that's the goal with the early meeting with Larry.
Yep.
Yep, thank you.
I was going to say, my notes reflect that healthcare costs, the department head attendance, the budget process, Amazon delivery compliance, employee handbook, and maybe neglected properties were all goals that we had set for Jim,
Yeah.
not
you're
for
right,
us.
You're right.
On
Am I?
that note, did you, Karen?
That was my note. Someone
There's always
else.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so we can, if, when we come to review the minutes, that should be taken into account. Because, no doubt, about 10 months from now, we're gonna be going, what were they again?
Fair enough.
Okay, let's discuss and vote to adopt the Massachusetts Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy, CPACE you call it, right?
Yes, sir. That's the acronym for it. So this is, as you could see from, if you bring up the map, please.
Sure.
So this is, enables, this program, as you can see, all the communities that are there, and we have two abutting communities that have adopted this. It enables eligible commercial, industrial, agricultural, nonprofit and multifamily properties of 5 units or more to attain long-term financing from private capital investors. So this is not any town funds or anything. It comes from a private investor. We have a limited administrative role in regards to our anything we're doing, and you factor that into day-to-day operations. It's just admin stuff. And let me see, but the private lenders provide the capital, and the commercial property owners repay the financing through a property assessment that we do. So the property assessment payment process as follows. The property owner applies to Mass Development. Mass Development and Department of Energy Resources approves the project. Mass Development sends a draft assessment to the town to be executed. The tax collector and assessor adds the betterment to the property tax bill. The town collects the payment, and then and just as a side note, if the property owner does not pay that assessment, we just continue to pursue it just as delinquent taxes, real estate taxes. And once that comes in, the payment comes in, then the town remits funds to Mass Development. Some of the things that this is really a tremendous amount of opportunity. It's got high efficiency HVAC equipment. It helps LED lighting, building envelope improvements, solar systems, batteries, energy storage, water conservation, electrical vehicle charging infrastructure, building automation, and energy management systems. This really will allow the town and state to stay on track with clean energy and climate objectives. And as you can see, it's being well received throughout. And this is something that I have to give credit to Tony. Tony had utilized this in Everett, in which he, when we were talking about the opportunity zones, and it was Tony's thought of, well, we can roll this is also would complement that opportunity zone. So for his work in Everett, and that's where we are. I know the memo was quite long, so sorry.
So, tell me why not to do it.
I'm not.
There's not, so there, I mean, what's the negative? Why
Why wouldn't we
why
do
why are there a lot of blank communities?
I don't know. I mean, it's this, out of us just talking regularly every day, 50 times a day, this just evolved out of the opportunity zones, and this is where Tony's like, well, in Everett, this is what we
Okay.
did, and I'm like, oh,
It's just,
that makes sense.
yeah, it's just another tool in the
Yeah.
economic development toolkit. And, working with mass development in the past, it's-
So, and I think because we have so much economic development going in here and so much housing, and there's a lot of, that's going on here, and this will bring private investment, but it also with the clean energy stuff and moving forward, keeping us on track, because that has been so important with the Sustainability Committee.
Okay.
And I know that the Select Board, it's been very important to all of you, and it cost us nothing.
Yeah, okay.
I just have I think this is great. I think MMA did a webinar on this and sometime over the spring. I did not watch it because the way it sounded much more like, like NSTAR was putting on it or something. But I think if you go under the MMA, their webinars, they did something. My only question, well, one is how are we going to publicize this?
Okay.
So that we need to figure out how to put it up there under, the website on businesses, so we have this.
Yep.
You said that we remit money to Mass
Development.
Development,
Yes, sir.
based on, they're paying it on their property taxes, basically.
Correct.
If they're delinquent and they're not paying that,
Right.
what happens with Mass Development?
Well, at some point, Mass Development will get their money because there's a lien put on the property, and so you're going to.
But it's through, the lien is through us or through Mass, I don't understand what that process necessarily is.
We would approach it the same way as a delinquent taxpayer. We would put a lien on the property, and
Okay.
we would start that process with foreclosing or anything like that, just as
Okay.
we would with a delinquent real estate taxpayer.
Okay. Any? So we just vote to adopt this?
Yes, sir.
Move the select board vote to adopt the Massachusetts Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy C-PACE program.
Second.
Moved by Mark, seconded by Kyle, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I'm gonna keep checking that map, Jim. I want to see it green soon.
You want
I want
community?
that, I want that to be green soon.
Yes, sir.
Now let's knock out our town administrator updates.
If you I just gotta pull them up, if you just, 1 second, please, okay. So, okay. Quick updates that I have is, as you, so EHS, as we all know, has been doing, with the new building, has been doing a fantastic job. But they are just, it's exploded. Their programs have exploded. We've got EHS for last week held 50 programs, logged in over 705 check-ins, which is a tremendous amount of traffic, and they do a great job. So we've got the collaborated EHS with the Highway Department to host the Veterans Breakfast again. There was an excellent turnout and feedback before. The Highway Department was absolutely fantastic. They did a great job cooking, cleaning, everything. It was great. It was excellent. So we also have Senior Center solar tax credits. The finance director informed us that from what Mark, and I'll, kudos with Mark with really reminding and having us pursue this. And we did, we got a check in there the other day for $93,633 for the solar tax credits. And this will will be applied to reduce the senior center's debt payment. It's just going right in there to do that. Okay, so so I want to highlight a few things from the project manager with Nancy. What a great job. She has been a jack of all trades, going out and doing a great job with every department across the board, really bringing her talents all over, spreading that wealth. Most recently, she attended the second floor of the land use meeting. They meet regularly amongst all of them, so they make sure they keep the communication on with different things. But it is also going. What Nancy is doing is from a conversation that Tony and I had with her in regards to, we have to do a better job getting the word out, getting the news out, stimulate more stuff that's, for the newsletter or whatever, or electronic on our social media or anything like that. So we really need to do better to do that. And so that was really put forward there, because there's a lot of stuff going on with Conservation Commission. Clearly, we've got, new Board of Health things. We have Kelly that's there that has really doing some, she's, got some great ideas and some great energy, so we want to maintain that and keep that and let the public know. Do we have over 1,000 people that, is that what Nancy said today? 1,000 people subscribe to the newsletter? I mean, I know. That's what I did this morning. I mean, did I get that right?
Yeah, and that and clicks off of the.
Right, and that it increases it just by, the clicks, and she's gonna get us that data that I'll share with you, but that has really done a really, really good job in growing. What else do we have? Further down. Okay, so we are, so the health department nurse, Susan, identified to mark off a section for the mammogram van in the parking lot. So we'll be able to have that announcement of when that will be available for residents. Also, Nancy is meeting with Mark Query and Tony to get footage, and Kyle. Kyle was talking about that just yesterday in regards to the Littleton video. Thank you, Kyle. That is outstanding. Also, we have T.C. Bailey is also, from our cemeteries, is also certified, as Kyle is, to operate a drone like that, which is... Cool. What's that?
So I'm not certified.
Oh, stop.
Hobbyist.
Oh, that's right. I promise I have my FCC license.
And lastly, one thing that in meeting with doing my regular standing meetings with department heads, I asked Nancy and Robin to go over and really there's this administrative things, financial administrative things that Robin will assist and off as a guide with to the veterans agent. But Nancy, I also wanted Nancy in there of brainstorming and understanding how to do the outreach efforts for veterans and what needs to be done in that venue to get more people interested and understand that what is available, whether it be for the veteran or for their spouses. And that's it. Unless they have any questions for anybody.
You mentioned including veteran stuff in the town newsletter. That should also go in the COA newsletter.
Yes, great. Thank you very much. And I believe that is something that Liz will be doing. Yes, thank you.
You had Civic Leadership Academy on here, announcement.
I'll
Yes.
pass it over to my partner.
So the program will relaunch this fall, and in the coming weeks, we'll be updating the website where folks can apply, and game plan similar to last spring. Have a series of sessions be coordinating with various department heads. It was a great experience. It was our first go-around last spring, and we're going to make some tweaks, and hopefully we'll be ready. And when I welcome you all to to join in, sit in, however. It was a great learning experience, not only for, I believe, for the participants, but also for staff too.
That's great.
And looking forward to doing it again this fall. And so you'll see more to come, and we'll be, I'll work with Nancy and continue to do outreach on that, but just wanted to give you a heads up.
Can you get some testimonials?
We do.
I'm going to kind of piggyback on what Kyle said earlier, using the tech. The tech has a printing focus or an area of study, and they've done some printing for us in the past, where they've given the select board letterhead. There might be something where we could design some letterhead for participants in the academy, where, if you go to a hotel to a meeting or something like that, they have a little notepad that says Sheridan on it, whatever, and a pen. It might be worthwhile, just to make it a little bit more personalized. They have some notepads that can be printed at the tech. It's
a great idea.
It's one of their disciplines. So.
Do they do swag too? Because I know you.
Look at the shirt.
Do they do business cards?
It gets me dizzy. I like it.
Yeah, that's all that gets you dizzy.
And we got a new hire out of the charter.
We did.
We got a great new hire.
Yeah, and there was another participant that also, through the LCTV workshop, signed up for the most recent workshops there, so that was pretty cool to see.
Oh, nice.
And the third member, I know, is also, she's an election worker with Diane, but has expressed interest in the future, hopefully in the near future, but to serve on other boards and so on. So,
Good job.
yeah, very good group.
Was it
and
select board? I thought it was.
Next year.
Are you up next year?
I am.
Okay.
I'll sign the papers for
Really
you.
pushing that this year, aren't we? All right, we have a town meeting survey result.
Yes, so I really kept this really short. The last town meeting survey report is online. I referenced it in the control sheet.
Yeah.
I will do the same here, same format, but now we have the beauty of looking at two data sets. So let me just share real quick. So indeed, the deck's going to compare resident feedback from the two recent surveys, so from October, special town meeting, as you know, and at that time we had 240 respondents, and in this go-around we had less, we had 74, but again, it's very interesting though when we compared the two. You'll see what I mean in just a second when I click over. So these were the major highlights, and again, it's only the slide I have for tonight. More will be in the report, more in the details and the meat of it. But the Mail Town Meeting report remains the dominant information source, with 82% in the fall, 83% in the spring. That is the go-to for information. An earlier weeknight start, so an example was a 6 p.m., is the top schedule preference in both surveys. And after that, I just want to curve a little bit here. After that was maintaining a weeknight meeting at 7 p.m. When I look at the other, and you'll see this in the report, there was option to provide other comments, thoughts, right, that would come up, and I want to capture this one here because it sticks out. So out of 10 respondents, 10 respondents provided an alternate in this go-around, and 9 of the 10 called out for a virtual option or Zoom access or voting over an extended period of time, like some type of ballot voting or so. I know it's only 10 or 9 out of 10. The 10th person, if you're wondering, I prefer keeping the current format. But still, I enjoy this, and I hope you'll enjoy when you see the report, that ideas and creativity kind of come in different form, and in the open comments, we were able to extract some of those. Support for childcare, again, remains constant, and for shuttle service, that 78.8 was from fall. You can see the rhythm here. In the spring, 76%, and same thing in the high 70s for shuttle service. Family obligations, work conflicts remain the two leading reasons for missing town meeting in nearly identical portions. And as I just mentioned, the last piece, meeting length and interest in remote hybrid participation, open-ended both surveys. Here we are, and at next town meeting, tracking the same core questions after each future town meeting would continue to build a consistent trend over time. It's obviously not statistically, it's giving you a direction, or at least giving some directional feedback. It's another point of information, I guess you could say, and that's where we are. So next go around, I'll give you the full story, right, the complete draft, and hopefully we can put it online and share with everyone else in the community.
So if 6 PM is what people want, should we consider pursuing that for fall? Or should we at least understand what it would mean, what, if it's doable,
That's what I was
what
just
it would
about to
take
ask.
to make a 6 PM start, you know?
Can we get the gym set up in time?
Right.
Yeah, we gotta talk to all the players, and that's
Yeah.
right.
Volunteers,
So
yeah.
is it worth investigating on your end whether a 6 PM start would be feasible
Logistically.
logistically, and then we can decide, or 6:30 or something, right? We could see what it would be involved, and then we can decide whether we want to do it or not.
Okay. Okay.
One consideration would be the playing fields.
That's
Right.
not an issue in the fall. They're going to be dark.
They've asked us to keep the fields open until shortly before meetings start, which makes total sense.
Yeah.
'Cause, the conflict is the issue, but are they gonna lose any time if we do that? And
By
how disruptive
rolling.
would that be by
Okay.
rolling it back?
Finding an alumni.
Yeah, alumni. Alumni's the big
It's
one,
lit.
right?
It's the
Because
only one that would work.
it's the only
in the-
one that would work, but it matters a lot to the folks that had that time scheduled.
Okay. Yes.
All right, we have a minutes approval. Thank you, Tony, for that. That's still good information, and get some of my mind spinning on some things that maybe we can consider in the future. Presentation about town meeting survey results, thank you. Approve the minutes of July 13th, 2026. Any questions, concerns?
A lot of information.
There's a lot.
Are those the ones from the retreat?
No, that's not July.
No, okay.
2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
Move the select board vote to approve the meeting minutes from the select board meeting on July 13th, 2026.
Second.
Moved by Mark, seconded by Chuck. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, the minutes are adjourned. We have a,
You want me to-
we have a special adjournment this evening that we're gonna, excuse me?
Before the adjournment?
No, it's actually for the adjournment, yeah, we're gonna have Mark read in memory of Jess Schoeffel, a long-time teacher, passed away. And I'll let Mark read the,
It is with great sadness that we recognize the passing of Jess Schoeffel, a longtime teacher at Russell Street Elementary School, who passed away earlier this month. For more than 2 decades, Jess dedicated her life to the students, family, and staff of Littleton Public Schools. She was known for her kindness, compassion, and unwavering commitment to educating and supporting generations of children. On behalf of the Select Board and the Town of Littleton, we extend our deepest condolences to Jess's family, friends, colleagues, students, and the entire Littleton Public School community during this incredibly difficult time. I ask that everyone join us in observing a moment of silence in memory of Jess.
all right, thank you, Littleton, and with that, I would look for a motion to adjourn this evening.
Second. Mark moved it, right?
Move we adjourn in honor of Jess.
Sorry. I'll second the motion.
Moved by Mark, seconded by Chuck. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and have a good night.